Hello all, this is Mohammed Jawad Hassan. So today I will do a case study on restored voice agent whose name is Bella. So when I built it and tested it, I ran into some issues. So I am sharing these problems as well as solutions with you so you also don't run into the same issues. So first of all, I built this workflow. So the problem was that main problem was that 11 agent was not calling my webhook, so my workflow wasn't being executed. So the problem was not with this webhook, so the problem was mainly with my 11 agent configuration. So after I tested this whole workflow, it worked well. So I evaluated and I found out that the main problem was all about 11 agent which wasn't calling this webhook. So the webhook wasn't being called and the workflow wasn't being executed. So let's look. So if you want, so you have to use webhook node to connect it with 11 labs. So to connect it with 11 labs, you have to build an agent in the 11 labs which is known as 11 agent. So I built this 11 agent named Bella also. So let's look at it and find out what the problem was. So the first problem issue I faced was about system prompt. In the system prompt, it is a very core part, main, very main, sorry, it is the main part of an AI agent. If you don't configure it properly, the 11 agent won't work properly. Or the 11, if you don't mention anything custom, the 11 agent will never know what it have to do. So the problem I faced was that the first issue I found out was that I never mentioned calling uh, NA10 NA10. So the AI 11 agent was not calling the NA10 workflow, which so the it wasn't calling the NA10, so the workflow wasn't running. So how it can, so the second, it was the first issue. So after I solved it, I still had some problems. So first of all, I want to say that if you want to connect it, you if you want to connect your 11 with any other external applications, you have to build a custom tool. So I built a custom tool named na10 and set it up properly. So the second and third issue I faced was all about this tool. So first of all, you have to the issue I faced was that I didn't configure a proper description box. So here the disk here I wrote here I used must be called on every single user message without exception, send the user's request to the automation backend and returns the answer. Never respond without calling this tool first. So I didn't emphasize calling this tool properly, which for that reason the 11 agent was not calling this tool, and the tool is the main connector with the na10, so the 11 agent couldn't access the na10 workflow because it doesn't know that it has to use this tool to connect it with na10. So the remaining method and URL was the same, so there was no problem. And now the second problem I faced is about this body parameter description. So now you might think, what is body parameter? So if I return to my Unity workflow and go to this inside the AI agent, here you can see the prompt user message I used here is a JSON code, and the parameter I named the parameter 11. So you have to be very careful about this parameter. You have to write the exact parameter here named 11. Here you can see the spelling of this is as same as this parameter. So after connecting this parameter, you have to write this description box where you have to you must mention that the use the full user message exactly as spoken. Always populate this field with the user's request before calling the tool. That means the 11 labs will not change the request and continue with it. So you have to be very careful about this body parameter, because the body parameter works as a proof or a key that works as a proof or a key that the board that I am calling this specific AI agent. So uh after I solve this, so you can use the same prompt, you can use the same prompts I used here. I mentioned the GitHub repo in my description box, and also if you want to use the same system prompt I used here, you can also message me and I will try to give this. I will also, it will also be mentioned in the same GitHub repo as I mentioned earlier. So thank you. This was my case study, and please be careful about setting up this 11 agent, because it may seem complex, but it may seem complex, but you have to you have to set it up step by step rather than hurriedly. So thank you all. Goodbye.